Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the second episode of the Top 10. I got a pretty good response from the last one. Lots of people asking lots of questions and lots of people responding well to it, so I figured, hey, let's do another one and see what happens. I got a whole nother list of questions here to ask. So I think, without giving you a long tutorial like in the last one, I think I'll just jump right into it here. So, question number one was from actually multiple people. Obviously, this has been a consistent question over the past several years, or a year at least since it came to console, is will you ever have machines on consoles? So right now, like I said, I got Chad, who's doing all the conversions for maps to console. And so far, that's been going really well. He's doing lots of hard work trying to make sure he gets everything to console. So far, we haven't put any FDR machines to console simply because they don't have, they do have like a third-party scripting for the tracks. So nothing with tracks can really ever make it to console. So right now, we're working on trying our best to get a non-tracked wood machine of some sort to console, but it's a big process and there's a lot of work behind it. So I've left it pretty much to Chad to try it out, but he's more focused on the maps right now because those are kind of the killer important ones that people care the most about. Eventually I would like to be able to put, you know, machines or machine types to console, but for the time being, just maps for now. We do want to put something on console, but it's like I said, it's a really big, a big undertaking to make sure that actually happens. So I wouldn't expect anything soon, but maybe 2019 will have different rules, or maybe 2019 will have, you know, some different options for us to play with. So yeah, that kind of answers that question as far as I can go on it anyway. Next question. This is from Justin M on YouTube. And he says, do you use other mods besides your own? So I'm assuming he means like when I'm playing single player, do I use anybody else's mods besides FDR Logging? For the most part, not so much. I like to keep to my own mods just because they're compatible with each other. If I start throwing hundreds of mods in to the mix, I find lots of conflicts with my mods, causes errors, causes issues. I do use lots of other people's like configurations. Like I use the Seasons mod. I use the, you know, the HUD hider mod, so you can hide your HUD for doing stuff like that. I use the manual cut mod, which was made by actually I don't know who the hell made that. There's a couple different people made that. I'm pretty sure it was that N Toxic guy made it, but I'm not sure. So I use that. I use the money cheat mod, because it's easier than going in and typing it. So if I just keep hitting H, my money goes up. Anyway, those are the kind of mods that I use. More scripts than machines. Some people's mods I will use, but not super commonly. I'll usually stick to my own stuff because it works, well, I don't want to sound like an prude, but a lot of my stuff works a lot better than some of the other logging equipment, I guess, just for my own standards. A lot of the other logging equipment's built for people in their own particular way, and I like mine just the way it is. That's why I built it that way. So yeah, I generally stick to my own mods for the most part. Let's see here. Next question. So this is from Ricky on Patreon. How much money have you personally made from FDR Logging? So I'll give you this sad statistic. So over the entire term of FDR Logging, there's been a lot of money exchanged via Patreon, via donations, all of which has pretty much gone back into all models mostly. Models are redonkulously expensive. They're a little bit, excuse me, they're a little bit cheaper now because I have my own hired modeler, and that person charges me a very, very good rate now. So, like I said, I pay about $400 US a month for a couple of models, 1 to 2 models depending on the complexity of that. Now, personally, money made off of all of this, I made probably, I think it was $25 a month starting in oh god, what was that? August of last year is what I profited it out to. And that $25 has pretty much gone to repaying all of the lost wages from previous models. So yeah, nothing. I haven't taken any money. You know, $25 isn't fuck all for cash, so I'm going to say nothing, literally. I haven't made any profit off this myself that I can take home personally. I'm hoping one day that, you know, FDR Logging would become big enough, maybe it would be, you know, its kind of own income that I could put towards my own income. But I don't even, like I said, I have enough money and work outside of this stuff that I don't really care about the finance portion of things. So financially, money-wise, yeah, I'm not too concerned with it. So if I never make any money off of it, the money I do make, I think I said this in the last video, or I said in another video, the money that I do make, I'm glad it's enough to perpetuate this thing forward. I'm glad it's enough money to make it drive FDR Logging forward. It can, you know, self-sustain itself with new models and new content by people's donations. You know, all the new models and stuff that come out are because of Patreon's donations. All that money goes to that. And basically it self-sustains itself so that this whole thing can keep going. As far as making profit on top of it, yeah, there's nothing to be shared on it. Recently we've definitely seen a bit of a bump in profits, so restructure-wise, I don't know, we'll see if we can maybe make profit off of it, but it's been pretty hum-ho for money as far as things go. But yeah, personally I have not profited piss all from doing FDR Logging. It's just been personally just a hobby project and now kind of a little passion of mine. And yeah, it's about as far as it goes. One day, like I said, I'd like for it to make money so we could be like, hey honey, I don't need to go to work today because FDR Logging is paying me. But that's a pipe dream of mine, and I don't think it's ever going to go that far. So between YouTube and Patreon, you know, it's, yeah, not a quit your job and run off to the kingdom of YouTube and Patreon to survive. So yeah, not a lot of money. Let's answer that question. Next question. Question number 4 from Michael on YouTube. Why do your skidders / loaders not articulate in the center? That's a very good question. So all of my mods all the way since 2015, I originally was articulating them, and basically what they mean by articulating is on a skidder, in the middle of a skidder, for instance, you know how the body twists? It has like a pivot point in the center, and that's called an articulating pivot, and basically it makes it so the back end of the skidder can turn. The only reason I don't do that anymore is because I absolutely hate the auto-centering in this game. Meaning, if you have a wheel, like for Farming Simulator, it's a lot easier to run a skidder because if you turn the wheel all the way to the right, the ass stays turned all the way to the right. But if you're using a keyboard, if you hold down the D button or the A button to turn left or right, the skidder will go maximum all the way to the left. It doesn't go partial, it just goes all the way to the left. And as soon as you let go to that key, it automatically straightens it back out, which is very unrealistic, and real machines do not do that. Once you turn the back end a certain direction, it stays that way. It doesn't automatically rotate back to 0, right? Now, I've seen a couple mods like Drive Control and other ones that clear the issue, but unfortunately, a lot of my mods are not compatible with those due to the engine configurations and a couple other reasons, but yeah, so for the most part, I tried to find a way to kill the auto-centering. I tried to find a way to kind of like go around it, and yeah. Another big problem I found was with my machines, especially like the Laterno, which is naturally a pivoting machine as well. If you have a pivot point while you're lifting a large amount of logs, same with the skidder, the back end will actually start to slide. It only happens when you have it pivoting enabled. If you have it on just 4 tires, solid object, it stays solid. I actually have a whole bunch of old modding videos that that kind of show that. But what happens is there's a disconnect between the back and the front, and because of that disconnect, the physics are constantly calculating. And what'll happen is it kind of wiggles, and then the whole machine actually starts to like turn 360 degrees in a circle. Some very slowly, some a little quicker than others, but it's really frustrating when you're trying to pick up loads because you're like, we're trying to line up your forks to go in for a grab, and then the whole machine's constantly turning a little bit to the left. So you have to like you know, go faster than you should to try to make up for it. Anyway, it's a terrible, terrible, annoying issue that that I've seen all the way since Farming Simulator 2015. And yeah, so as soon as that started happening, I said, oh, you know what, screw it, I'm just not going to make pivot machines anymore. I'm just going to put 4 tires on it, make it solid, and call it good. And that's what I did. And since then, same with the skidders. All my skidders are all solid body with just, you know, turning tires. I mean, I know it doesn't look as good as an articulating machine, but it gets rid of that stupid issue of the auto-centering. Now, some people have actually used drive control with my mods and found that they can get it working with some machines, and, you know, that's great. If you guys want to do that, by all means. But going forward, until that's an option, even like an option in Giants, like, you know, like in our screen here, if you could go, like, you know, disable, you know, articulating pointer, auto centering of articulation or something, that would be amazing. But until that happens, you definitely won't see any articulating machines. It's just going to be solid bodies for life. So that's the answer to that question. Let's see here. Question number 5 from I could be able to pronounce that properly. Trevier, Trevier. I don't know, however you pronounce it. It's on YouTube. Trevier, whatever your name. Do you have a website or Facebook page? No. I have a Patreon page, which the link is in the right below this video. And I have a YouTube page, and that's it. That's it. I used to have a Facebook page, and I had, like, you know, 10,000 followers, and it was really big. Problem with Facebook is, every time I post on Facebook, I'm just feeding content back to YouTube, or I'm feeding content back to Patreon, and it was really annoying trying to balance, like, from a business point of view, it was really annoying trying to balance social media with Patreon, with the forums that I had, with the website, with, that's another reason I got rid of the website too. So basically what I found is it felt really dumb for me as a single, you know, like, business guy working the whole site to have to go to YouTube, to have to go to Facebook, to have to go to the website, to have to go to the forums, to have to go to the third-party center, or third-party form app, or whatever the hell it was for that, and constantly post the same messages I was posting on Patreon and on YouTube. So it just felt like every time I made a post for, you know, like a mod update or anything like that, it was like, oh, okay, so now I have to post this on 7 or 8 different places, the same content over and over and over and over and over. And, you know, ultimately it would always end up going to the same group of people. So I decided one day, I know my Facebook page was very successful, and, you know, as far as people went, they were really upset that I deleted it, but from a business point of view, it was the best decision I ever made, because now those people who actually cared and wanted to do the FDR logging thing, instead of just staring at random Facebook posts and throwing likes on them, which means absolutely nothing, I now have these people coming to Patreon. I have them coming and interacting and donating and, you know, getting involved with the YouTube channel and stuff. Like, it forces them, instead of looking at my FDR logging business from a third party, it makes them have to come and get involved if they want to get involved. And it turns them into a much more valuable, you know, supporter, or a valuable, what would you call them, entity, I guess. So the reason I shut down Facebook and the website, well, one, the website was costing money that wasn't necessary. We were paying, like, you know, 38 bucks a month US, or sorry, it was euros I was paying for that, for nothing. It didn't host my mods. My mods still went through Mega. It just hosted a site that had all the links to the mods, and it was a pain in the ass updating all those links. So now I've switched to strictly YouTube and Patreon together, and I have a mass share folder that I use for Patreons and a mass share folder that I use for public mods now. And since doing that, it's so much easier for me, first of all, because I do not have a whole lot of time to play around. So if I say, oh, hey, you know what, I got a new mod I want to release, all I gotta do is drop that mod in my share folder, and then, you know, share a link on YouTube and share a link on Patreon. It's 2 places plus 1 download link, and I get to everybody that I want to get to. Now, I mean, granted, I probably cut out a little bit of the, you know, fan base by doing that. I'm sure there's more people I could have gotten if I would have maybe waited longer and, you know, drug out the Facebook and the web page a little bit, but I just, yeah, preemptively made that decision and said, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. I don't want to keep posting a million places and spend 45 minutes a night trying to make sure all the posts lined up at different places. Like, it's just a waste. So basically it's me trying to narrow down my fan base to a more, to the source, I guess, instead of trying to outsource to Facebook and blah, blah, blah. And I'll tell you right now, Facebook is a useless place for this kind of a business. If you have like a local mom and pop bed and breakfast, or if, you know, you're doing entertainment or photography, or you're selling your art or something like that, Facebook's a pretty reasonable place. But if you're trying to get people to come see your content at a third-party place, like, I can't host mods on Facebook, I can't, you know, I can't do anything like that, I can't do donations on Facebook, I can't, you know, I can't do shit all on Facebook. It's a really terrible app to try to get people to come to another place, because people would rather sit there and just hammer the like button on things or leave comments. And you know, I didn't see, and that's it. That's the other thing, is like, I can actually see on YouTube when I watch these videos back, I can see all the analytics, right, which I know lots of YouTubers understand, where you can actually see where content is coming from. Like, I can see I can see Facebook delivered this many people to your YouTube page, Facebook delivered this many people to your Patreon page, blah blah blah. Like, I can see the statistics, right? The most I ever got was YouTube always being the one forwarding people to the right pages, and Patreon being a main source. So watching the website wasn't very, it was popular with people because they liked the pictures and it was all easy access kind of stuff, but I wasn't able to push people in the right direction to get them, you know, to get them to the Patreon page. If they were interested in donating, they have to really dig it out and look for it, right? So instead of advertising on every single web page, hey, come to Patreon, hey, come to Patreon, hey, come to Patreon, I just decided, why don't I get rid of Facebook, the forums, and get rid of this web page. So not only are we saving money a month that we can put towards models instead of wasting it on a web page that doesn't do anything, it forces everybody to come to the source where all the actual good content is, which is YouTube and Patreon. And outside of that, unless some kind of really spectacular app comes and combines all of them together or something, I will definitely never have a Facebook page again for FDR Logging, just because it's useless. There's no point to it. It's great for advertising events and stuff like that, but I would never use it for doing this again. So that's a very long-winded way to answer that question. But yeah, no. So there's no Facebook page, no website anymore. It's strictly Patreon, strictly YouTube, just those two sources. And you know, you'll see Mod Hub and stuff like that. My mods will be hosted on there, but I don't have any real activity there. We just upload them and walk away kind of thing. So yeah, that's the answer to that question. Next one. So this was from multiple people on YouTube. Question number 6. When do your public mod packs come out? So there's no real set definitive time on when they came out or come out. I released my last one, what the hell was it, middle of February or end of, no, it's the end of February now, so middle of February, I guess. I can't remember when the hell I released the public one. Basically what I want to do is I want to get Patreons to work through all the beta bugs, release all the mods so that we actually have a decent pack. I would like to do a whole version change of all the mods before I release a pack. So what I did was I released all the version 10s to the Patreon people for beta testing over the last 4 months. You know, one by one, and got feedback and things to fix, and you know, we went through all the problems and worked out a lot of the bugs. And then V10s came out. I released a final V10 pack to the Patreons just to confirm everything was working. I got the A-OK from most of my really detailed testers that are on Patreon. They said everything works great, so poof, we released the V10 publicly. And that included all the maps and all the goodies. So basically I'm doing the exact same process over again right now. So what I'm doing is I'm daily right now, I'm releasing the V11 packs, or V11 machines individually. I've had a couple already so far that have come out. and I'm giving those to the Patreons for beta testing, and then they've found some bugs. Naturally, they always find some weird bugs that I never noticed, which is the whole purpose of Patreon, and it's working really well for that. So as I release them, they find problems. I go back to the drawing board, I fix them. I release the next machine, they show me the problems, I fix it. We do this throughout the next couple months, or maybe a month and a half. We'll see how long it takes. Once I hit a certain, okay level where I'm ready to say V11s are complete, ready to go to V12 if we decide, to really change something about the machines. Once I start even making the first V12 mod, or I start even considering the next V12 mod, that's when I start looking at, okay, we're done with this set of V11s. We can release them to the public now, same with the maps. Looks like it's all good once the beta testing is complete. That way you guys, when I do release it publicly, are getting a finalized version that's in really good shape. You're not getting my old school, half mashed together. There's nothing worse than releasing something publicly to get like a storm of horrible feedback about something that was really simple to fix that you missed. That's why Patreon has been like this beautiful pre-buffer beta testing experience to get all the bugs out of the way, and everybody's really supportive, and it's a great crew. So then when I do release it publicly, you guys won't find all these bugs. You might find something else, but it might be something, the chances that 150 to 200 Patreons missed something about one of these is very slim. So you are getting a really good final product when I do release them. So to answer that question, probably within the next month and a half, maybe 2 months. That's when the next pack is coming out. That's what I usually say for most of the mods. They're about a month to 3 months apart. And it all depends on what's being changed and what's being added. There's new machines being made and added all the time, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'd say within 1 to 3 months. I know it sounds like a long time, but it's worth it in the end. Everybody said the V10s were good, so I think the V11s are going to blow people's brains right out the window. Question number 7. Will you improve the textures / interiors of the machines? And that was from Paul on YouTube. Yes, and that's exactly what I literally was just talking about in the last question. So the new V11 stuff that's being made right now has all been remodeled. And if you go watch my most recent developer video for Patreon, I think it was devlog number 2. I can't remember if it's 3 or 2. I don't remember where I am. 2, I think. Anyway, if you watch number 2 there, it shows off a bunch of the machines. What's happened is they've all been remodeled. They've been retextured. Lots of new techniques added to them to kind of clean up the bodies and make them a lot prettier. They look a lot more realistic. They have lots of shine to them, and they look really good. All of the new machines that are coming out are using that same process, so they're all looking really good right off the bat when I launch them. They've all turned out fantastically well. But yeah, so they're all getting retextured. They're all getting remodeled in a little bit of a way. What else was part of that question? So that's it. Oh, interiors. Sorry, yeah. So the interiors, I'm adding some stuff in there to make them look a little bit better, like a little bit cooler. So what I'm doing is I'm adding like the little display screen showing your engine time, showing your speed, that kind of stuff. I've done that on a few of them just to kind of perk them up a little bit, because I know the interiors are like an empty shell. So I think by doing that, it should actually make them look a little bit better. And I've noticed on a lot of the newer machines, same with the processors and loaders, they look a lot better now that they have just kind of like a little heads-up display in there. Processor's probably the best looking one, because it's got like 3 screens and there's lots going on. But you guys will be able to check that out when the V11s come out and decide whether you like the interiors or not. That'll be entirely up to you guys. So, but yeah, to answer that long-winded question again, yes. So new textures are being applied, they're being remodeled, interiors are being added, or stuff being added to the interiors. So yes, you will see a large improvement on the version 11s. Much less cartoony looking. I think you guys will be very happy with those. Okay, question number 8 from Trickster12 on YouTube. Where do you get your inspiration for making such beautiful maps? Well, first of all, thank you. I'm glad that you like the maps. I know lots of people do like these maps, and we're on Jade Mountain right now. I've been kind of staring off into the wilderness of the map while I've been answering these questions. But the inspiration, I really like cinematography, landscapes, you know, like from movies, from places I've been. Like I said, I live in British Columbia, so we have lots of beautiful scenic landscape here. I really enjoy the challenge of trying, and it's really hard in this game, trying to copy an area that I've seen in my mind or that I've seen in a picture. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll pop open a picture of a forest or a picture that I've taken of a local forest, and I'll try my best to kind of manipulate the land to look similar to that area, and then just kind of add my own stuff. I mean, this game has limitations, right? I mean, the grass and ground doesn't look all that fantastic, so I've been trying to find ways and techniques to try to make it look more realistic. It's very cartoony, this game. You don't get photorealistic qualities that you do from most things. Everything that's applied, you know, it looks kind of... like, the textures aren't great. When you get really close, you can look at this tree, it looks really, bleh, like, grainy and not super, you know, super nice. So, going forward, I've been trying to see if I can make things more photorealistic on future maps. I'm also going to be grabbing lots of asset packs. I'm thinking with Patreon donations, we'll be able to now purchase new stuff to put in these maps to give them kind of a freaky, realistic quality. I'm really hoping probably next month or within the next month to get some packs. I have some really wacky map ideas to try to make some really beautiful stuff, and I really want to make it work. I'm going to try my darndest to try to make it work. But to get the inspiration to build a map, I mean, it comes from all over the place. It's after I've made so many maps now that I start to get an idea in my head of like, oh man, or I'll be driving down the road, like we'll be driving, you know, up north somewhere, my wife and I, and I'll like look out and see like a forest or like a little nook and hidden swamp in the side of the road or something that, you know, you wouldn't never even think twice about, and I go, oh man, it's like, you know what? I bet you I could make that. I bet you I could try to make something that looks exactly like that. And then I take that home, and that inspires me to kind of chase it out. Bob Ross is another great inspiration. If you ever watch Bob Ross, famous American painter, the guy with the most chill, humble voice you'll ever hear, who describes his paintings. I used to literally build maps. All you guys probably remember. If you go back and watch my old live stream videos, I actually used to have Bob Ross on YouTube on the side while I was building maps, playing in the background. And God, I don't know, he's really inspiring, talking about his, you know, landscapes and his whole history of painting and stuff. And I don't know, that kind of stuff's pretty inspiring as well. But so between Bob and yeah, and seeing my own environment where I live and seeing pictures of areas that I've never been, and then knowing that somebody else, like you guys who are listening right now, knowing you guys are going to be playing on these maps with your friends or by yourself and cutting down these trees and having your own little logging operations and starting your own little, you know, your own little worlds, it's really cool. That actually inspires me to make maps as well, you know, like thinking, hey, you know what, one day there's going to be, you know, anywhere from 1,000 to 50,000 people that will play this map, and they're going to see every little bit of detail that you put into it. They're going to check all the little valleys, and they're going to, you know, they're going to get a truck stuck over here, and they're going to get a skidder tip over here, and, you know, they're going to have 3 guys pull out something over here. Like, I don't know, that kind of stuff's really cool. And it's all stuff that you built to create a weird experience for somebody to have an experience on, to have a moment on. I can't think of the countless times in multiplayers on my own maps where I've gone back and be like, I'm so mad that I put this here because it created such a problem while we were logging. We had to build a chip, you know, reservoir to drive over. But then I look back and I go, you know, that moment stands out because it was such a challenge and such a hardship for us in multiplayer to do it, that it actually made it really fun. Like, it made it, holy, we accomplished something that we never thought we could accomplish. So yeah, when I look at all these maps, I think, you know, people are going to go into these weird areas. Like up there, those trees on top, I put them up there for decoration pretty much. I don't expect anybody to get up there and log them, but I guarantee there's going to be people that'll drive a buncher up the side of that hill or find a way to skid them and line skid them off the top of that hill. and, you know, maybe they'll roll a machine, or maybe they'll, you know, yell at their friend because they made them fall over. You know, it's thinking about the future of all the things that will happen on a map like this. Like, it's just this palette of creativity for people to go out and, you know, cut it the way they want to cut it. And that right there, I don't know, that makes me feel really, I don't know, inspirational. It's really neat to know that people will come on here and do that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what drives me forward. The beauty of maps, just being able to create them for my own, like, joy of environment, and knowing people are going to have a good time on them, and, you know, get into all kinds of situations and experiments, and yeah. So that's what inspires me to make maps, and I have lots of funky plans for maps coming still. I'm trying to get out of this kind of generic look, though, because I have a generic look to my maps that looks kind of, you know, like this. You know, it's just, the problem with the Giants engine is, like, I'm past the point of making these kind of maps. Like, I want to take it to the next level and really perk them up and make them special, but with the tools that we have in the editor, it's really hard to get out of this kind of groove of just copy-pasty feel. So this map actually was really nice. I was able to make some really nice valleys, and I pulled in some ideas from some pictures and stuff, and it turned out really nice. But ultimately, the forest floor still looks very similar, kind of meh. I have to make it so that it's playable. Like, you know, I have to make it so that you can log it, and it's possible to log it without too much, you know, glitches or issues. But at the same time, I want to make it so it looks really realistic, you know, so it makes it fun for you to actually play it. So we'll see. Over the next little while, there's going to be some new stuff coming out. I'm going to get some assets, some new models, new textures, and we're going to try out some really funky stuff to see how realistic we can make the maps look. So anyway, another very long-winded answer to that question. As you will know, all of them have been. But we're on number 9, so we're getting close to the end. Number 9 from Devin on YouTube. Have you done any mods that work with the Seasons mod? Without revealing too much, I have made a snowplow for the Seasons mod. I used the Snow Geo mod for Seasons on my Frostline Ridge map, and when this video comes out, I doubt, well, I might have the other, I started another single player series, just recently, that has all of the snow maps, has all the Seasons mods on the snow map, and it's, Frostline Ridge is the name of the map, and basically it has, the Seasons mod applied with the Snow Geo, that lays all this big heavy snow down. So what I did is I went and built a big monster snowplow that goes through and pushes all the snow for you. And that's the only mod I've ever made that works, you know, in conjunction with the Seasons mod to push that snow. But all my skidders work with it. All my, you know, my dozer, all that kind of stuff, they all work with the Seasons mod as well. And basically, it's just for pushing snow around. The Amarok, which is the new shovel loader, can also pick up snow in the bucket. The new Pegasus truck, which isn't out yet, also you can put snow in the back of that and fill it up. So yeah, to answer that question, yes, I do have a few mods that work with the Seasons mod in conjunction with it. Hopefully that's what you meant. The only thing I can really think of is for pushing the snow around. As for the Seasons mod, like Seasons working on, like on these maps, like the trees are set one way. These are not compatible to Seasons. They don't change color, you know, with fall and then winter and all that. So if you want to throw snow all over the map, you can definitely do it with that Snow Geo or Seasons mod. But these maps aren't exactly set to be compatible with the Seasons mod's rotation. So you can still use them on them, but you won't see the trees change color. Chad is going back and converting a lot of maps from the old stuff to work with the Seasons mod, so that might be something, a question for him. I'm definitely going to try to get Chad in on the question period here as well. So if you guys have any questions for console, or any questions for Chad in his console making map stuff, definitely throw them in the comments below, or send us a message. So I'm going to try to pull him into the mix here and get him to answer some questions as well, so that by the end of these videos I'm not completely winded from speaking all by myself. But yeah, that's the answer to that question is yes, there's a few mods coming that do work with the Seasons mod, but no maps that specifically are suited, at least not from my side. Chad might be working on some. So that answers that. Okay, so what's this? Question number 10. This is from Maddie Roll? Or, yeah, sure. Let's call it Maddie Roll, and that's on YouTube. He said, what is Patreon and what's it for? So, if you go back and watch any of these videos, you can get a pretty clear description on what Patreon is. Patreon is a crowdfunding service. Basically, the purpose of it is for artists like myself to get donations from people who want to see things that I'm making keep getting made. So, for instance, I am running under FDR Logging. I'm a modder. I create mods. I make maps. I make machines. I make content. In exchange, a lot of that stuff does cost money. It costs time. And basically, if you want to help perpetuate that, to make it, you know, keep going, there's a service called Patreon, which is a crowdfunding service where you can sign up, donate $5 a month from your own. You get access to beta mods to test out and go through the process of testing with everybody else. In exchange, that money that everybody donates goes to buy more models for future projects, and, you know, goes to support everything that costs along the way. Yeah, basically that's Patreon. It's just a crowdfunding service that works really well. Great for donations. It's really easy. It's also really easy for me to access as a artist. So I'm able to actually provide content to you guys a lot easier than places like Facebook or places like websites and stuff like that. So Patreon, there's a link just in the bottom of this video to Patreon if you're interested in checking it out. Like I said to everybody, you do not have to donate to Patreon. It is an entire optional, you know, service. So if you don't want to donate money, you don't feel you have to, because these mods will come out publicly within the next few months. All of the stuff does come out publicly. You do not have to donate if you don't want to. So I know a lot of people were saying the only way to get mods is by donating money. That's not true at all. If you want access to beta mods to help me find bugs, to help me find any problems, to help donate to, you know, buy future models, by all means become a Patreon. We love you. We want your support just as much as everybody else does. But, you know, if you're broke and you don't have the money and you feel like you have to, don't. Because don't worry, the mods are coming out for free anyway. So just sit back, relax, have a, you know, nice cocoa, and the mods will be coming here soon enough. Just hold your horse there. If not, feel free to, yeah, donate. And you can get access to some of the newer stuff right away to test it out. It doesn't mean it's going to be in 100% ready to go shape, as it is beta testing. So a lot of the stuff, when I do release it, has lots of issues that need to be fixed, or stuff that I want people to try out to see if they like it or don't like it. So yeah, that basically sums up what Patreon is. Crowdfunding service. Come support or don't support, entirely up to you. But yeah, basically that answers all of the questions on our top 10 list. I'm still getting lots of questions being emailed in, and I'm getting lots of questions being sent. I'll go through it again and just see kind of what the best questions are. I'm getting some questions that are, you know, kind of not really answerable just because they're simple, basic questions, you know, like what's your favorite color kind of thing. Like, you know, haha. As funny as that is, I'm not answering that question in these kind of videos. Well, I will answer that question. My favorite color is black or white. So there you go to that guy. But those are the kind of questions that are kind of, you know, non-redundant. They're very redundant, so it's just like, I don't know. Don't need to answer those. So if you have any very, you know, constructive questions that I can kind of feed off of and answer, you know, feel free to ask them, and I will put them on the list for questions in the future. I'm just doing up another top 10 today, so I'll have another big pile of questions for the next one. Eventually, I'm going to either run out of questions or I'll start seeing duplicates, and then we'll probably come to an end on the video series. But yeah, I'll do my best to answer all your stuff, so feel free to keep asking. But yeah, that sums up our top 10 for today. This was episode 2, and I think it went very well. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to either email me at fdreviews@gmail.com or put a comment in the thing below. Also ask on Patreon via message if you're a Patreon. I will do my best to answer them accordingly. So anyway, thanks for watching the full episode, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.